Dr. Jessie Sanders, owner and chief veterinarian of Aquatic Veterinary Services. Today we'll be talking about water changes. So water changes tie in with one of my most favorite topics of all time, water quality. So why is it important to do water changes? Now, water changes defined as basically physically removing old water from your system, be it a tank or a pond, and putting in new conditioned water. So the primary goal of this is to bring down your nitrate levels. So again, we have our nitrogen cycle. Starts out with the primary fish waste of ammonia from all those lovely protein that they eat, moving on to nitrite, and then finally nitrate. So nitrates, if you have plants, an aquaponics system, great for using up those nitrates and making sure your levels don't get too high. So in that case, do you still need to do water changes? Well, yes. So fish are also putting out all sorts of other hormones. Usually these are fat-soluble hormones, all your reproductive hormones, any stress hormones, and those, if they are kind of left, especially if your pond is very heavily stocked, can cause your fish to have issues with reproduction, growth, metabolism, essentially putting them in a chronic stress state. So you probably don't have to do water changes as much if you have a big bog filter or an aquaponic system using up all your nitrates. Still have to do them occasionally, just not as much. Systems that are, pretty well balanced, have a low fish load, you might get away with having to do one, every month or so. Most people who have never done a water change before, your water quality is terrible, or you've been replacing your filters, need to start with at least once a week changes. Depending on where your water quality is, it could be more frequent, it could be less frequent. So really we recommend that people check your water chemistry, and after you've kind of, been maintaining your system for a while, you can start to play with how long you go between water changes, how much volume that you do, and again, watch your levels and see how they change. Now, if your system is in dire straits, you need to do a big water change. Most important thing is to check your pH. So if your pH is way off from your tap water pH, so your tank is say maybe in the 6s, your tap's at 8, if you do a big water change and swing that pH from a 6 to an 8 in 5-10 minutes, your fish are going to die. So it's really important that if you're going to do a big water change, and really we really don't recommend more than 50% at one time, make sure that you are checking your pH, checking your ammonia level. Certainly recommend checking your KH, so your alkalinity. This is what keeps your pH stable. And if your source water has very low KH, you're going to need to supplement it, or your pH is just going to keep bouncing around. But it's very important to maintain good water chemistry, obviously. This is the most important thing that fish owners can do to keep their fish healthy. And check that regularly. If you have any concerns, you don't know what your ranges should be, we are including a link to a reference range sheet for pretty much the standard fish that we see most often. Certainly if you have something a little more fiddly, you're going to have to do a little bit more research into figuring out what is the best water chemistry for them. And again, it might take a little bit of work to maintain it correctly. So water changes overall are an integral part of your regular maintenance schedule. Always recommend that if you do have a tank, you use a gravel siphon. That'll get down in kind of those nooks and crannies. And if you have a pond, that you're either doing a backwash through your bead filter, provided that you have a bottom drain. If you do not have a bottom drain, we highly recommend that you vacuum the bottom of your pond. That's just where all the waste settles out, and if you don't get it out, it's going to be a problem. So, hope you've enjoyed learning all about water changes and my favorite topic of water quality. If you have any other questions or concerns about fish or fish health, please visit our website at cafishvet.com. At Aquatic Veterinary Services, fish are treated like family.